Hello and welcome to Sudden Recollections, top video game villains of all time.
Want me to do the laugh?
My evil laugh is pathetic, so
Yes.
I will refrain. Video game villains, really cool. Oftentimes, because you as the player character are meant to be immersed into the world, a lot of times the character that you're playing as isn't as developed. So where the effort ends up going is into the villains. So there are a lot more, and this was actually a tougher list, I think, to put together.
There's
villains.
several that I would like to add to it that didn't.
Yeah.
So
I think the honorable mentions will... it's about normal.
The honorable mentions could be
yeah.
about
a whole nother video.
Long.
And you know what? With this video, we might
do a
go
sequel.
and do a sequel video. You
Just
know, the
things
next top 5.
We didn't think of, or
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't necessarily fall in any kind of order. With respect to this one, they would just be their own list. You could treat them separately.
Yep. But we'll start with some honorable mentions. Darth Malak from Bioware's Knights of the Old Republic.
KOTOR, if you are familiar.
Yes. Big fan of that game.
It was very good.
I was a big still am a big Star Wars fan, and that was the first Star Wars game to really be something good, not just because it was a Star Wars game and I enjoyed it because of that. It was an actually good game.
In its own right.
Mm-hmm.
And it
as
really
an
was.
RPG. With no doubt due to Bioware's hands in it.
That was their first really good, really big hit among people that weren't really big fans of the whole D&D experience in video games.
But Malak, in and of himself, is a very good villain. You know, he has a fairly tragic backstory in a sense, but a lot of problems with the tragic backstory is... Well, yeah. Like you said, you say you have a tragic backstory because the ladies love that type of thing.
They do.
But he's irredeemable as a villain at the same time. So you feel like you have to supplant him. Whether you go dark side or light side, it's hard to feel bad for this guy. Because, and that's another thing, spoilers in this review. Or not review, but top 10 list, or top 5 list. Sorry. There are going to be spoilers starting now. Malak
starting always
betrayed you. You as Darth Revan, who you find out to be. Malak betrayed you. So he, in and of itself, that regardless if you're a Sith in the game, you want to get him for revenge, and if you're a Jedi in the game, you want to get him for being all around bad guy. Jedi. Yes, because you were a Jedi.
Number 2, the G-Man.
Yeah, creepy guy.
Not actually even sure what his role is. He's very, very mysterious, very undefined.
That is a reason.
Apparently, has poor power over space and time somehow,
but not
really
absolute power either, because the Vortigons can, combat him theoretically. I don't know. That's the other thing. We're not exactly sure he's an antagonist either.
Not even.
That's why he's not on the list, or one of the reasons he's not on the list. He's a very odd character, in the games you'll just see him. He'll just appear and lurk, and he's G-Man, government man type of a deal. I don't know if that was actually Valve's moniker for him, or if they just took that because that's what the fans called him. But post in comments below if you know. That would be helpful. I've always been curious about that. Last of the honorable mentions, the Archdemon from Dragon Age.
I think this one didn't make the list. I mean, because he was definitely a villain, but he's not a very personal villain.
The reason he's an honorable mention in large point, because there's a fear surrounding this character throughout the entire game. You're worried about the Blight. There's pressure to defeat the Blight. There's pressure to defeat the Archdemon. He's what causes the Blight. It was... in an interview with...
It's Dragon Age, by the way. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Okay. In an interview with... what's his name? The guy who played Saruman.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee, when he was talking about the lack of screen time that he had, in the Two Towers, he said that he didn't really mind that because the Two Towers was all about Saruman in his eyes and how much of a threat Saruman was. So the name was there, even though his screen time wasn't. And that's very much the feeling that you get with the Archdemon. You don't see him that often. You see him in like segments of dreams. You see flashes of him, but the threat is always there. It's always pushing on you. It's what causes you to go from one place to the other. Which is what made Dragon Age such a good game, because there was always that pressure.
Even though apparently the Blight could be held in stasis by powerful magic just by not going to the places you were supposed to go. Anyway,
no joke. But yeah, so starting with
the list proper.
List proper. Number 5 is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, and
once again, not a very personal. I guess he kind of is.
He is. He has a very complex.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. I played the game twice, and I really don't understand.
Kind of tragic backstory. He has several
convoluted
complexes that he deals with. Messiah complex.
I hear being like not real and sort of real will do that to you.
Yeah, it's a very strange situation.
It's very typical of JRPGs.
Yeah,
very
just weird and complex and ununderstandable.
Mostly incomprehensible.
Yes.
Rule of cool, though.
But yeah, the reason he's on this list if we're honest, has very little to do with the way he was written, very little to do with the character. It's because
he's the one-winged angel.
Is the one-winged angel with the freaking katana that's the size of
it's like
a house. It's longer than an 18-wheeler type of a deal.
That might be hyperbole, but
it is. I promise. But he's a pretty cool villain, all in all. Moving on.
Next up was a rather humorous addition to the list by the name of General Knoxx. If you've played Borderlands, and you should, it's cheap, and it is a riotously good time. One quote that comes to mind is that this planet smells like hemorrhoids wrapped in bacon. And that really is all you need to know about this guy.
Yeah.
He was a very reluctant villain. He didn't want to fight you in the first place.
No.
He kind of just wanted you to go away. And then there was exchanges with his aide, or whatever that guy's name was.
Yeah.
It has to be heard. The delivery of the lines and everything.
The voice actor that they got for that was just amazing.
Stupendous. And you do end up fighting him. He's a giant, big robotic guy in a suit, and we'll probably find a picture of that. I would guess to show you guys.
Yes. Yeah, cool character, hilarious. I mean, talk about something that you've heard, in every one of our videos. I mean, Borderlands is the game that we have played the most cumulatively, because it is just such a fun game.
It's addicting,
and it is very addicting.
Shoot and loot is always fun.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on once again to
more humor.
Yes, we like humor apparently, but not a whole lot, because number 1 isn't that humorous. But GLaDOS from the Portal 1 and Portal 2 games.
This is where the list gets really tough.
Yeah, because you'll notice on a lot of sites you'll see GLaDOS as number 1.
Yeah.
What is it? The escapist forums has a villain competition all the time, and GLaDOS wins a lot.
And I think it has to do with the writing and the humor.
It does. In fact, we
both did a lot of things that you're going to regret.
Fantastic. The writers at Valve are amazing.
They are. Big shout out.
Dialogue writers. Yeah. If you haven't played either of those games,
Portal is certainly something that you can invest in. Everybody.
Yeah, Portal.
Everybody can enjoy that game. It's not restricted to any kind of.
Especially the first one, you can get it on Steam. Most computers will be able to play.
And it's free.
I don't think it's free anymore.
No, they make it pay now.
Yeah,
but it's not much. It's like it's $5 if it's not free.
Yeah,
so
it's not that much, and it's an amazing game.
And it will make you want to play the second one.
Yes. Moving on.
Moving forward. Number 2, once again, very tough choice here. Saren from Mass Effect. We just can't seem to get away from Mass Effect. All of the list contains something. They at or near the top.
Did our weapons? I don't think our top 5 weapons did.
No, because there was not much that was too memorable from that.
At least not from the games we've played. The Omni Tool Blade has a shot, I think.
If we do another one.
If we do another
eventually,
one.
Which
we probably will.
Once again, we'll probably make another list of all of these lists because we just can't possibly fit these into top 5. Saren, very personal villain. He's someone he made just the writing was just absolutely phenomenal. I can't think of. I think he is. I mean, it was a tie for me, and then I think Tim probably broke the tie with the number one between this one and the number one. Once again, kind of an irredeemable. An irredeemable character, just because not necessarily a mentally thing. It was physical. It was physiological with him. Yeah,
tragic but irredeemable. You know.
You did feel sorry for him.
You felt well
at the very end if you played it the way I did.
Yeah, you did. You do feel sorry for him in the game. Now, Bioware has a book out, several books actually, for Mass Effect. What is it? The Revelation.
I think that was the first one.
Yeah.
Ascension.
And it's about Saren and.
We only talk about the first 3.
Yeah, there isn't a 4th one, right? I hope not. I have nightmares. Regardless, moving on. Anderson and Saren, and when you read that book, when I read the book for the first time, Captain Anderson, it made me go back and play the game just so I could kill Saren, because you stop feeling bad for him at that point. But in the game, they do make him a...
At the very end, some things are revealed that you wouldn't... I mean, it was a good plot twist, and then you are suddenly... realize
we already have a spoiler warning. I mean, he was being...
Indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated,
is what they call it.
Literally.
By the Reapers.
Which
physically as well. He was actually allowed himself to be implanted with Reaper technology.
Yep. And so...
altered his... everything.
But he was bad to start out with. So, in a sense, he is tragic, but also irredeemable, which makes a great villain. So...
Once again, not a lot of screen time, but he kind of hung over.
It was always about Saren.
Kind of hung over the whole thing until it was realized that there was somebody pulling the strings behind him. They didn't make as good.
And even then, that didn't really have an effect until the second game.
Yeah.
But moving on once again,
the final
to number 1. Without a doubt, in my mind, it's the best written villain as far as the overall plot is concerned.
I think we can agree there.
It's once again big spoiler here. If you have not played Bioshock, shut it down.
Yeah, shut
the video down and go play it. And then come back and watch it.
Once again, it's cheap. It's fairly old and should play on most modern systems.
Yeah.
If you play on the PC.
Atlas and Fontaine, who are the same people.
One and the same.
In Bioshock. I
just finished playing it.
Yeah. I wish...
Again.
I could write characters this well.
Yeah.
And plot twists this well. Because it's one of those things where the twist is shocking, but in retrospect you feel like you should have seen it coming. You should have
known it. And you do start to suspect, like when you drop into that second to last room and "Would you kindly" is written in big bright red letters across the wall. Looks like stained blood. I don't know if that was actually the case or not.
Yeah.
But you're thinking to yourself.
See, now when I first
have I heard
when
that
I
before?
first started when I first played the game, I was slightly suspect. I hadn't for some reason I had avoided the spoilers, but what first made me question Atlas's motives in that game was when he was the one that wanted you to kill the little sister, the first little sister you encounter. And even if you didn't kill her right away, if you did though, I mean it's an ugly scene.
Yeah, it is.
Whenever you kill,
I did it once and then promptly loaded a save.
Yeah,
and didn't do it again.
Didn't do it. I mean it's, and when that happened,
you need to wrap it up.
Yeah,
you're out of time.
That was when I started questioning him. But
once again, play that game. That is probably.
Thank you very much for listening to us ramble on once again.
For too long.
Meet you here next week on next Tuesday, And see you on Thursday for another Terraria Let's Play. Sayonara.